Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation. I apologize for some of the background noise. I kind of had to get out of my house. There was a noise issue here. It's less of a noise issue with the Panera Bread, ironically, with where I am right now. So, alright, let's get started and jump into it. So the way the application starts up is you double click the icon, stage 3, and here we go. And it's a pretty easy to use start screen. You could get the ingredient form to load up by clicking this, recipe form by clicking this, and then all the other things take one click and they load up. Like see the recipe names form right there, loads up right away, and then you click Control W to close that report. So the way I like to start out is to start by picking out the ingredients or adding the ingredients. So let's go to the ingredient form. We have our different buttons right here. You can scroll to one way, or you can scroll backwards, or you can print out the information, or you can delete it, and I don't want to delete it, or you can create a new record. So we're going to start out by creating a new record for some fictional ingredients for a fictional recipe, just to explain how the program works. So the first one we're going to add is, let's see, I believe it is ingredient, and forgive me here, I just got to minimize this. We're going to add ingredient X. There we go. That's pretty easy, just like algebra. Ingredient X, then ingredient description is, let's just put down X. And then the type of unit that this ingredient is, you'll click one of these, then let's just fill out the fictional value of 1. You know, it's not that important, it's a fictional recipe, it's just kind of for training purposes. Then double click here, and let's click Add, and those files are on the desktop. We'll click the desktop and then ingredient X right here, and there's my report that I tried earlier, and the sound didn't work, so that was kind of fun. So we're doing this again, so double click ingredient X, click OK. Alright, here we go, ingredient X added in. You know, this is a modern Rembrandt right here. I should have been in the program for graphic design instead of network and system administration. Then let's add ingredient Y, same sucks, ingredient Y, then just put Y, and there's the fictional value, or a fictional description. Let's put teaspoons, why not? Then 2 will be the fictional value for all of this. Then double click right there, click Add, and then Y, double click that. Perfect. There we go. Then let's add another one. We'll click Add right here, then ingredient Z, then we'll put Z as the description. Then let's choose servings, why not? 3. Then let's click right here. Then let's see. Z, there we go. Then, okay, we have all of our ingredients added to the database. Hit Control and W to close this screen. Then let's go to the recipes. So it's pretty much the same procedure. Same buttons do the same thing. I have this Easy View button that I created, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but that'll become important after we add a new recipe. So click this button to add a new recipe. So then we're going to add this. This will be recipe W. I've done this a couple of times, that's why it says 16. I've had a little bit of trial and error with getting the project to work the right way today, or getting the recording to work, excuse me. So let's see, then you can click the date that you added it. So click this, it's today. Then double click to get a picture of it, add, and there is that beautiful picture of recipe W. Then choose the kind of recipe that it is. Let's say it's lunch. Alright, there we go. There we go, easy enough. So then you start out by entering the steps. I always start with this, I type in step 1, and the step time I always start out is 0, 0, and I'll explain the logic of this as we go on for the first step, or first couple of steps, and sometimes I break one step up into multiple steps because you'll have different ingredients. So I always make sure in a cap sensitive way I type in the name of the ingredient. So we have ingredient X, there we go. Then we have the amount of 1. Then let's just say pour ingredient X into bowl. There we go, easy peasy. Then hit tab, and then hit 2. That helps us go to the next thing. Then let's say that after we pour it into the bowl, this takes like a minute. So we're at the minute mark. And an important thing to point out is this goes as high as 59. Let's say we're waiting like an hour, it would be like that to do the next step. So it's a little sensitive on that part. So we'll put that in there. Then we'll do ingredient Y. There we go. And then we'll type in the ingredient amount. Let's call it 3. Then we'll say, let's change it back to 2 minutes. Why not? We'll say pour ingredient Y into bowl with ingredient X and blend. Then let's say we'll hit tab. So then hit recipe step 3. Then let's say we're on minute number 3, 003, got it. And then we'll say ingredient, there we go, ingredient Z. So then we put, let's say it's an amount of 4, let's say add there we go, Z, and blend and let set for 15 minutes, okay? Then we hit tab, then we're at step 4, and the step time for this one, so that was at 3 minutes, that would be 18 minutes, so that's logic. Then I created an ingredient called serve, so that way you know when it is to serve it to guests. It's not a real ingredient, obviously, it's not an ingredient at all, but it's a way to help make the recipe easier to read. So we're at a total of 18 minutes, and you don't have to enter a value. I can say serve to guests. So then hit tab. So then we have the ingredient in there. Then here's where the easy view button that I created came into play. I just thought that this was obnoxious trying to go through it, and it's missing the units value. I tried a couple different ways to add it. I felt like this was like an easier way to do it. So click easy view, and boom. Here we go, step 1, 2, 3, the ingredient times, serve, that's the instruction, and then serve to guests. Easy as heck to see it that way. It's a lot easier than having to dabble around in sub form. So, and let's say we want to go backwards. Let's say we click this, and this one is probably a little more realistic, the pigs in a blanket recipe. Okay, click appetizer, click easy view. See, easy as heck right there to see that. And hit Control W to close this, hit Control W. Then, you can look at other things. You can look at the recipes report, and let's see, where is, yep, there's recipe W, got added to the report. Then there's ingredient name. You can get a, idea of what the ingredients are all about by looking at this query report, what the descriptions of them are, hit up and down to go through it. Pretty simple to go through. A list of recipes, there are 10 steps or less. There's one that's more than this. If you want to get some of the detailed nutrition info, you can go right here, loads up the table. Then if you want to see how many steps are in each recipe, you can click this guy and see. Yep, there's the pita pizza one. That one was actually pretty delicious. I recommend looking it up when you get the chance. And then calories per recipe. Some of these look like they're pretty gargantuan. Again, let's point out the pita pizza one. This one looks like it's enough to feed a small army, but that's because there's so many servings in it. All right, and then recipe names. Just the basic information from earlier on in the project. Recipe ID, recipe date, the date is added, and recipe time. Something like this can be useful, in my opinion, from an administrative standpoint. Let's say that you're having some problems with other parts of a database. Sometimes it's easiest to go back and look at when changes happen. So let's say we had recipe, let's see, we're at W, let's say we had recipe Y added to it, and there were a ton of problems happening. And then we delete everything that we find associated with recipe Y. At that point, we can, maybe realize where the problem came from. I think that's an important part of running a database, is to have logging information, so you can keep track of when important things happen and maybe narrow down when there's a troubleshooting issue. So we hit Control W again, back to the main story to get back to this. So let's say we want to get rid of the recipe form again. Not the recipe form, excuse me, the recipe we just created. So go all the way to the end right here, recipe W. Easy as pie to get rid of that. Click that guy, hit yes, and it's gone. So that easy. It works that way too for the ingredient form. Let's click ingredient form, and let's see, it's in alphabetical order. 1 second. So ingredient Y, let's say we want to delete that. You're about to delete one records. Yep. Then ingredient Z. I'm just going to hit no for now. But, okay. So that's all there really is to it. Hit Control W, and let's say you want to close out of that. Easy enough. Just hit the X right up here. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.